Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy and I am here with an antique, vintage, thrift, all of the above haul. So if that sounds interesting, please stay tuned. Oh my gosh, you guys, those openers aren't going to get anybody to stay tuned. But thank you if you are still here. And I know there are some loyal fans out there, some loyal watchers out there that are back. So thank you. And if you happen to be new, welcome. We are in the middle of doing a huge, well, what's turning out to be a huge series. I went out and spent about $10,000 on vintage ephemera and the like from antique stores and thrift stores all across Tennessee and Missouri and Kentucky and Illinois. And I'm going to direct you like a choir, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Let's get started. So one of the things I do when I'm doing this kind of shopping is if anybody wraps things for us, I always save that just in case I can use it for something. And look at this tissue paper. This would be fun to use. I got 3 sheets of that. It was used to wrap up some printables that Jason got at one of the shops. And so yeah, so anytime they get that or a paper bag or something, I'm always claiming that stuff for my stash. And I'm trying to think of where, I want to start with, okay, I have been talking about this for a while and I need to just show it. And I was going to I bought a junk journal myself from a Etsy shop, and I am an avid watcher of her channel. Her channel's called Hyper Stamper, and she is on Etsy under the same name. I will link to both her shop and the video of this particular journal down below. But at first I was gonna show it like hands down so I could flip through and everything, but you guys, she did that already. And she of course knows where all of these things come from that she's put into her journal. So why would I try to recreate something that's already perfectly done? So I am just going to show you, I'm gonna kind of unbox it or unwrap it or whatever and flip through it with you. But yeah, you definitely want to go watch. You guys, she sells like a journal a day. She is very experienced at this. She's very good at it. And her claim to fame is that she uses no commercial products, no printables. Everything she has is vintage and authentic, I should say, authentic, vintage, and antique ephemera. So it came in a box like this. I'll hide my address. And this is the second journal that I have bought from her. She's always, both times I've gotten a card. Now she, I believe, may still make cards, and I think I'm putting this together because I'm just putting it together this way, but it may be totally wrong. Go read her bio or whatever. But her name is Hyper Stamper because I think she used to focus on making cards, stamping cards. And I used to do that with Stampin' Up. And so she, in both of the packages that I have gotten, includes a card of her creation, and she leaves it unused, but then she puts in a message on a post-it that you can take out so that you can still reuse it. So that's always sweet. And I think the first card that I got, maybe it was more of the traditional stamping card. This one, or I've noticed lately, because she puts sometimes cards in her journals, and I've noticed they've been more vintage ephemera, kind of collage kind of style like this. So yeah, I love that. So that's obviously a great idea. If you don't junk journal, maybe you make cards so you could still enjoy all this ephemera that we're finding and use it that way. And some of you make master boards, which I'm assuming are kind of like a collage board that you can then scan and, you know, kind of making your own paper. But when you order a journal from Hyper Stamper, she has a customization box that you can fill in. And so this is where I've talked about on previous videos where when I someday start selling journals, I'll have a box like that too, because maybe people want to put in their birth date or anniversary or their favorite flower. Maybe they love spiders, you know, whatever or St. Louis or, you know, something, you know, so you can fill it up with a ton. I'm sure I put a ton of things in mine just to give her ideas, because you never know what they're going to have in their stash of things that they're willing to part with, that they're not saving for some, because she does also do thematic journals. And if for some reason you want to curate, is that right? Order a journal, a specific journal. What do I want to say? A customized journal. You can do that too. You can contact her and tell her. She's had people that have asked for fairy journals or a Christmas journal or a Holly Hobby journal, you know, whatever your interest is, you can contact her and see if she does special projects like that too. Not just, the majority of videos on her channel are just journals that she's made to sell in her shop. So, but you can custom order. I guess maybe that's what I was trying to say. But anyway, I always, because I'm so vain, I always put in my birth date whenever I'm customizing something. So she had a note that said, I remembered from last time, because I ordered a journal about a year ago, November 13th. And so she sent me, she's been using these in her journal, but she sent me the 5-year diary page for my birthday. And she didn't have, I think St. Louis must be a hard thing to find stuff for, because she didn't have anything for that last time either, but she did have a Missouri postcard from 1909 that she included, which is really cool. This one's from the home of Jesse James, and so that's really cool. So thank you for that. And so all of that came in this the envelope, which of course you can use with the card, right? And then there was also, so she wrapped it in pattern paper with a few stickers on there to seal it. And of course I'm probably going to tear the paper. But so, okay, so there's several different people that have influenced my style, and she is one of them because of her love of authentic ephemera. I sell digital ephemera in my coffee shop, link is below, but that's just because I'm trying to create passive income streams. And you can create a digital once and, you know, just resell it for infinity or whatever. And there's so many people out there that prefer to work with printables because they don't want to go out to the antique stores and the thrift stores to find things. So I'm trying to cater to both. But ultimately for me, because I'm so nostalgic and sentimental, I prefer also to work with the authentic things too. Hence all these videos where I'm buying all this stuff. So I picked out this one. Now, partly because so her journals sell almost immediately. She posts a video and then probably within a couple hours it's sold, and then she'll mark on the video sold. Well, the two journals that I've bought from her, I've kind of gone back and looked at some of the few that don't sell right away. And I love red, and this is kind of a like a brick red, burgundy, whatever you want to call it. And I watched the video for this one like 4 or 5 times, you guys, because that's one of the great things about her channel is you can watch the flip through and see all of these pieces and get a really good understanding of what you're going to get. And this had such a beautiful postcard put on, because it was between this and she's got one that's Rosalind or something like that. That's a beautiful cover. Like, I can't believe it may be sold by the time of this airing, but it is so beautiful. So it was between those two because they were red, but I ended up deciding on this one, and I'll point out why when I flip through it. But she mounted it with antique or vintage mounting squares so that you could still take it out. She said there's some value to this, and you can, whenever you get a postcard, you can do your Google picture search and to get more information. But then obviously she's added some, I don't know if this is applique or crochet or doily, I don't know what you call it. And then she always has a dangle that coordinates with the cover in some way. Sometimes it's like, I think the other one that I got had vintage or antique beads and maybe even a necklace. Sometimes she puts a whole necklace if it coordinates, so that you could just take it off and wear the necklace. So it's very, she's very purposeful in how she does this. So we've got some ribbons, and a lot of the times if there's damage to the spine, and I'm not saying there's damage to this one, but if there is, she expertly covers it. She tries to keep the books intact when she can, but she knows how to deal with it if she can't. So this, and then she usually will leave like the first few pages of the book with the book so that you know how old the book originally was. And this one was called The Girl Next Door, and I'm trying to see if I can see a date on it. I'm not seeing a date on it, but her video, I'm sure, tells you. So then we'll just flip through kind of the signatures. So now I'm trying to find these. I keep finding the vintage red-backed flinch cards, and I found, I had the red deck, and then I found another one that was that I think was older, and I was like, oh, finally I'll get the, the one she's got. No, nope, it was red too, and I still bought it. But she also will, trade these out for a different number if you ask. But then these books are full of just different pieces of ephemera. And sometimes they, well, like this is French ephemera. So that's another thing that I've kind of learned from her is kind of how to break down things in a way that they can then be put in a journal like this. And she uses a variety of book pages in here. So you'll get some children's book pages, maps, music, all that kind of stuff. And here, see, this is the pocket that I was showing you guys the other day. If you have a children's book page with an image, or any kind of book with an image at the top, you can take it and fold it and make like a double pocket, which you can then fill with more ephemera. And see, bingo cards. Everybody loves bingo cards. And even when stuff is like chippy or whatever, it's still great, ephemera. I don't know. I can't think of any bad ephemera in my point of view. And this one actually had 2 bingo cards, so that was sweet. And these, I think, actually, I don't think in my collection that I have this one. These are from Toronto. So we'll have to see. I don't know if I'll part with those or not, because I'm trying to also kind of, like some people collect swap cards or playing cards, I'm kind of trying to collect bingo cards too. So I'll definitely be keeping at least one of them. And okay, so this, I saw her use these, and I found a book that had pages like this in an antique store and snapped it up. Granted, mine are black pages, which I kind of like the green better. But then you can, you know, stick stuff in there. Like she stuck this picture, and this looks like a yearbook picture that she then backed with antique paper so you could write on it. So that's another thing that I learned from her too, is backing things with, now I don't have the kind of stash of vintage and antique paper that she has, but if you back it with some, you could back it with tea-dyed paper, you know, which isn't old but kind of looks old. And so another reason why I got this one is because of this card. So you guys know I collect aces of spades, and this one is super old. I'm guessing it looks super old, and it's beautiful. And this one is super dark. I think she mentions that it almost looks like it's been oiled because of how dark it is. But yeah, that was another reason why I picked this one over the other one. But you can see we've got another kind of folded paper page pocket, and it's just chock full of stuff. And then another reason why I got this one is because for a little while she was making these books, or almost like ephemera holders. Now she makes these flowers in a lot of her, she's got a possibly, I don't know if she did Stampin' Up, but in my mind I'm thinking she's got some Stampin' Up punches or die cuts, and she takes, instead of throwing away some scraps, she can make these flowers, and they're beautiful, right? Using the different color paper together with a little thing that she would have cut off of a doily. But she was making, I need to like figure out, reverse engineer this, because I really, really like this idea. But she, you know, has several pieces of ephemera. I loved this, and I think I mentioned on a previous video, I'm trying to find some of these, and she calls them Stacy's Maple Grove Dairy, because I think somebody named Stacy, one of her viewers or friends or whatever, gave her a whole bunch of these, which is fun. I need to, snail mail is coming back, you guys. Who would have thought? And I want to figure out a way to get some pen pals and trade ephemera. But I hear horror stories, and that's mostly from Facebook, where somebody will send out their package and they never get a package in return. And I guess if that happened, then you would maybe stop. But until then, you just trust people. But here's another example where, you know, she just takes a scrap and puts some paper on it, and then it's just something you can write on. And then so I just really liked that. And then another probably picture from a yearbook made into a cute tag. But you guys, they're chock full of, and she has so many plates that also come with, sometimes she'll back them with paper. I'm trying to tell if this one, okay, this one just happened to have a blank back, but there's so much space to write in these. There's so many different reasons. We talked about this on a previous episode on why people use junk journals, and some people actually do use them to write in, whether it's a diary or a planner or whatever. And isn't that beautiful? So she always makes sure that even if some of the pages are like you can't write on the pages, she gives you other things that you can write on. So, and the value, some of the value of doing sewn in signatures is then you get, you know, kind of a repeat page, which I know when, because I'm going to be doing cinch bound journals, so I could just put multiple of them in, but I don't know, a sewn in one, in my opinion, is a little bit, well, it's more effort, right? And then she very often makes these clusters out of scraps, and this is some, I think she says it's birchwood bark from a tree. Like on camera and almost in real life, it looks like paper because it's so smooth. But yeah, that's really cool, I think. So yeah, so see, you don't throw away anything, because even the smallest pieces, just get yourself a little bucket to put your small pieces in, and then you'll be good. And I love ledger, and I love when it's written on, because I like looking back in time. This was November of 1952, and I love seeing, like, what were people buying back then? More pockets with stuff. So see, I got a second one of these. That's how lucky I am. But that is another reason why I bought my Expand-A-File, so that I could have a file for each month, so that as I'm coming across diaries, I can do that, you know, have that set aside. But see here, we talked about in other videos about how if you have like a really big book, maybe it's hard to know how to use that in a journal. You do it like this. You put it in the center of your signature and you turn it sideways, and then when somebody's looking at it, they can look at it like this. But I mean, it's just a whole variety. Like, that's what I love. Don't get me wrong, I like themed journals too, and I'm gonna have a themed journal on the Titanic that I'm gonna show eventually once I get my table or my desk cleared off, because that one I really do have to show from the hands, just because of how intricate it is. Not that this is not intricate, but it's intricate in a way that it wouldn't be easy to hold like this. It's got removable signatures kind of thing. So, but I've got some more. See, just take, you know, like maybe that's the title of a chapter. Put some stuff on here. And then, of course, my favorite Golden Guide pages. But yeah, she's got all these cool pockets, and like this pocket wraps under the page instead of like around the side, so you get a pocket on both sides. And some of these are chippy, like I just did that. So you always have to be careful when you're working with the vintage stuff, but it's just really, I don't know, I end up buying, it makes me like so many different things that I have a house full of stuff now, and I really need to get past these videos where I'm hauling things so that I can start making things. Now, a lot of times, so here's a book spine, and my guess is, I don't remember exactly, but my guess is it's the book spine from this book. So whenever she's taking a book apart, she tries to keep the spine with it and use it as a belly band. So for me, because I'm going to be doing cinch bound, I'll have the outside of the spine, and technically maybe the inside of the spine that I can have make with belly bands too. And then of course there's several pages that have fabric. Here's a different way to make a pocket. Oh, this one's lovely. And then again, more children's book page. And see how this is? I mean, she's not covering up everything, but yet it's making, and it makes it more sturdy if you have some really thin paper. How was this in here? Oh, on this way. And a book plate. I love these. Now she's got a different kind of book plate too, which I really like. I think it's got flowers on it or something. But these are cool. I showed you guys, I found some of these, but they were probably like Dollar Tree ones. But I didn't care because I wanted some book plates. And here's another way, if you've got a picture that maybe you don't want to cut to fit the width of your book, you could put it in, you know, put it this way in the signature. Some more, another pocket. But I just love the variety. And sometimes, you know, to get it into your book, you do have to cut part of it unless you're making a pocket or something. And then sometimes she will put all the cutoffs together in and clip it together or staple it together to make like a little mini journal that she'll put in with it. And both of the ones I've bought from her have had some stamps, which you guys know I love my stamps. For so long I couldn't find any, and then I finally started finding some. It was very nice. Oh, nope, I don't want to go backwards. And some of these ones that she does, she'll put a hidden writing space in them, but this one, because it's kind of an awkward shape, in order to get it to fold down correctly, it's not as ideal for the hidden space. Plus, you don't want to cover up the recipes. Oh, and this was the other reason why I bought this one, is because it had something for Springfield as Lincoln, because I used to live in Lincoln, Illinois, which is just north of Springfield. And so this felt, I lived there for 16 years, so this felt personalized without it being personalized, since it was already in there when I picked it. But yeah, I mean, this is an old, so if you ever come across, I don't buy a whole lot of fabric because I don't exactly know what to do with it aside from making pockets and stuff, but don't be afraid to take something old like this, and maybe it's in the antique store because it's got a hole somewhere so nobody can use it in its originally intended form. So then you could put it in your thing like this. And more, it's just, like I said, chock full of stuff. Oh, that's beautiful. And then kind of a little waterfall with some antique or maybe tea-dyed paper. Some Monopoly money. She's probably the reason why I even thought of, I probably wouldn't have thought about using Monopoly money, but now whenever I see it, I snap it up because you can write on the back of that. It's a pretty good size for a little note. And there you have it. So be sure to check out the real video that goes with this so you can learn all the real stuff about it. And you guys, unlike me, she has short and sweet videos, so which makes it very easy to watch them all. And definitely check out her shop. She also, I think, unless it's sold out by the time this airs, I think she has an ephemera pack too, with some of the extras of the things that she gets, and that would be a really nice ephemera pack, because she has good stuff. So give that a check. And thank you, Laura. I love my journal. All right, what is next? Okay, I'm gonna hang on, I'll be right back. Hi, let me take a brief moment out of our video to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Junk for Goats. Junk for Goats is my business where I sell and resell vintage, antique, and some modern Ephemera for all of your junk journaling or crafting needs. I have shops on Etsy, Whatnot, and I list my digital items on my coffee shop. All of the links for those are below in the description, so please check that out. It's also important to note that 10% of all the proceeds from my sales are used to purchase goats from Compassion International. Those goats are provided to families across the world to help them meet their own families' needs in terms of their diet, but they can also take and sell the milk and the cheese that they produce from their goats to their friends and family nearby, helping to provide them with a income source that is valuable in the areas in which they live. So if you would like to craft with a difference, please check out the description below. And as always, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks. All right, so I was wanting that to be a little bit less, I didn't really mean to make it obvious that I was leaving and coming back, but I've got to figure out a way to make it easier for me to insert my commercial. So there you have it. And speaking of which, not speaking of which, but I'm going to do a little commercial. So if you've been around a while, you know that I am in desperate need of iron in my body, and I tried doing just the adult normal extra iron or high potency iron or something pills, and man, that was a bad thing for me. So this is what I ended up with. I saw that Flintstones had one for extra iron. One Flintstone has 100%, which, you guys, is only 18 milligrams, and my doctor told me to get 325 milligrams. I can't. So on the off chance that she really meant 325%, that's what I'm going to shoot for. So I'm going to try to eat 3 to 4 of these a day. The other vitamins, in case you're concerned, vitamin D, there's 75% in here, but the others wouldn't be harmful to have 200% in a day kind of situation. And this is one thing, when you're on a shot like Mounjaro or Ozempic or whatever, you don't get as many nutrients because you're not as hungry as you once were, and you don't eat as much, and so sometimes you're lacking in vitamins. So we're going to try this to help with the hair loss thing, and I guess I'll let you know, but it's getting worse, which, why do I keep talking about this? I don't know, because we're a conversational channel here, and we share these things with each other. So yeah, so we'll see. It's like I keep finding short hair, but it's not new growth. It's just breakage, I think, which is unfortunate. But okay, so before I show some more stuff I hauled, picked this up today from Walmart. It is 10 cubes for $10, which is what the Dollar Tree used to be. That's now the $1.50 tree, the $1.75 tree, or whatever. So this is a fantastic deal now. So picked that up because I need some kind of little containers to put my in-process projects in, or my super small ephemera in. So Jason picked those up for me. All right, where should I go first? Oh, no, this is Temu. I hauled this a long time ago. My Temu bingo cards. I finally found them, so I can put them in my bingo kits, so that'll be a new bingo card, but my bingo kits are going to be predominantly vintage, but not completely, because I'm trying to do variety. But I thought it was funny that, I've been saying on this channel, because I watch TikTok, and they've always got this really cool craft stuff, because crafting is what comes up in my TikTok feed. And I'm always like, that looks just like Temu. Are they just buying it off of Temu and bumping it up in price a little bit? And sure enough, Hey Everybody mentioned that she had discovered that was true from something she was watching, or at least one shop she found was doing that. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. That's why everything looks so familiar. Yeah, if you're new to my channel, I used to haul Temu all the time, and I had to pivot because that plan was not sustainable long term and didn't really benefit me, my family. And so I flipped to hauling stuff I find in the antique and thrift stores because I'm recycling it in some fashion in my Etsy shop. There's a few things I'm buying and just reselling if for some reason I got it for a really good deal, but most of the stuff I'm tweaking or recombining, like my bingo kit. I'm not just, well, I may resell bingo cards, but I'm gonna be selling a multi-pack kit that's got like 20 different style bingo cards in it. So, you know, I'm trying to not just resell, but there's nothing wrong with that because there's tons of people that resell stuff they find at the Goodwill and whatnot. And that's pretty much, you know, kind of what I'm doing. But some stuff I am changing up. Okay, I've got all this stuff in this box that I don't know why it's in there. It's not stuff I hauled, so let me get it out of the way. Okay, finally something new. So I'm always looking for, let's make a thumbnail since I decided to stop using the midlife crisis thumbnail because I'm afraid people are thinking it's the same old video or whatever. So I really need to do hopefully I'll have a good picture with the journal so I can highlight that. But so McCall's and Ladies Home Journal. McCall's is from November of 1951. Ladies Home Journal from December 1952. Great source of ads, fashion, grocery, kitchen, that kind of memorabilia. And I hate just repeating the word ephemera all the time. That gets kind of old, but you know what I mean. I see we got something in this, so I kept this. Now this is not old or anything, but it's still usable. Okay, I don't know why I bought more of these. I recently showed you guys that I bought a bunch of these, and I actually broke down all the ones that I bought before so that I could create, because I have, like, this is S&H. I've got S&H Eagle Premium, Top Value. I've got 8 different kinds, and so I'm like mixing it up so people can get 8 different kinds in a pack instead of just a bunch of one kind. But why did I buy more? Because I already have lots of that stuff. Well, I was kind of short on my S&H, so I bought that. But actually, I think all of these are empty. They don't feel like they have any stamps in them. So this might be something I resell as is. Or maybe I'll just stick this in with the stamp sets just to kind of, you know, have something extra to put in there. And I got, you guys know I like my score sheets, so found this one, and I think I found 2 of these, but this was the first one I've had that's green. So I'm also creating a pack of score sheets that'll have like 40 different kinds of score sheets, because those are great for journaling. And then these are some Happy Easter cards, and I think, you guys, to me it looks like Beatrix Potter, right? Now they're it doesn't say that on here anywhere, but it says Frederick Warne, and I feel like that's a name that I usually see associated with the Peter Rabbit books. So these are invitations from 1994, and I just thought they would be cute to have if I ever do a Easter themed journal or an Easter themed ephemera pack. And it came with the envelopes too. But yeah, so tonight was a night we went over to Mom and Dad's after work, and we were watching baseball. The Cardinals were playing the Marlins, maybe? Sports, I could take it or leave it. I could usually leave it. Like, that's really not how I would ever choose to spend my time. But it's funny because whenever we're watching something on TV, my mom, who has Alzheimer's, kind of insinuates herself into that situation because her brain doesn't know how to process, like, it can't process what a sporting event is anymore or why they would be watching this on TV. So she proceeded to tell us that she used to play with them, and there were certain things that they would have her do, and because she's also very process oriented. Now, it's always things. It's never anything specific. Like, they always had me throw the ball, or they always had me catch the ball or get the water or whatever. It's things. They had me do the things, and if I was good at the things, then I could keep doing the things. That's how the conversations go. But yeah, so she used to play for, I don't know if it was the Cardinals or the Marlins, but and then she'll ask questions like, do you think everybody in the stadium has eaten yet? Or do you think everybody in the stadium has done this kind of a thing before? And sometimes it's hard to know how to answer because the questions I'm sharing with you, or you could make up an answer or whatever. But sometimes her questions, it's like, I'm not really sure what you're saying. So then you just kind of say, I don't know, maybe. But it's weird to me that, I don't know why it's weird to me. Everything's weird to me with this disease. Like, it's just not going the way I remember it going with my grandparents. But yeah, it's interesting. So she's had a very adventurous life, apparently, because today it was baseball. The next time it's gonna be murder detective. I don't know. She's done it all. A woman of substance. I don't know. What do you call a Renaissance woman, we'll say. But yeah, you have to, some of you may be like, why are you laughing about this? Well, you have to laugh when you're in a situation like this, because otherwise you cry, and nobody wants to cry. So you laugh and you just thank the Lord that she's still here. She's still able to live at home, and she's still safe, and she still lets me in the house. I suppose there will come a point in time where she'll hide from me like she sometimes hides from the caregiver. I don't know. But, ow, Peanut's under here and her little foot hurts. All right, got a growth in arithmetic book. So kind of a mid-century kind of looking book, but I like the pictures and the fact that there's color on the pages. So I think that'll make good. These would be great pages for an ephemera pack, right? If you're not using them yourself, but to give variety. All right, then I went, okay, this person had a bag of recipes for 92 cents. Well, sure. And I haven't opened this yet, and I don't have my scissors. Okay, let's see. A lot of people that use Ziploc still tape the bag. Oh, well, this is not too difficult. But I liked this because they're cards, and which will make it easy for me to just insert a card in something. And some of them have, there's a few that had tabs, because it was probably supposed to be one of those mail order, you know, get so many a month kind of dealios. These are from, it's in Roman numerals, so hang on. Oh, these are not, hold on. 1996. So vintage, but not super old. So yeah, so you guys know I like finding cards because it's a thicker, well, a little bit thicker of a paper, and it's like the whole recipe is right there. So it's not like you're separating pages in a book and the picture's on one side and the recipe's on another, and they're not together anymore. And these also are great in ephemera packs. Okay, let's not try to stick it to the tape. Okay. And then I was so excited. For those of you that have been around a while, you know that I love these books. There is a series. Now, I realized today, or when I found this one, it was only $3. And I was always thinking that there was only 3 books in this series, red, green, and blue. But then lo and behold, I found a yellow one, and I was like, darn it, there's 4 in the series. And so then I had to get that. Well, it turns out the reason why I thought it was 3 is because it says this is one of a series of 3 books. So I was also thinking this was newer than my 4 set series, but now I'm thinking this is older. But they both have the same copyright date of 1931. So my guess is that one of them is a reprint, and they just didn't list the reprint date. So I've got to do some more research, because these go in my permanent collection, but once I have one, I can cut up the other one or any future ones that I get, because the pages in these are perfect for journaling cards, or even just ephemera packs, or putting in a pocket. I love them so much, so I was super happy to get that for $3. And then I found a travel album, which at first I looked at this and I thought, this looks pretty new. And it was $5, but it's from 1952. So the front of it has some cool paper that would go great in a journal, plenty of writing space. It's not dated, it's there so you can date it yourself. And then the back is just vintage paper that you could put on the back. So here I've bought myself some vintage paper that I can put on the back of advertisements or whatever to give people writing space. So like a 2-in-1. And then I found this pack of vintage Valentine's cards. Okay, so it says Valentine bundle for $2.50. So I haven't opened it yet. So aside from what I can see, you know, while it's wrapped. So let me see if I can, oh, it's knotted. Well, let me see if I can pull it open. I usually have my craft toolkit next to me while I'm doing these, but as you can see, I don't today, which hopefully means it's on my desk. Otherwise, I've lost it. And I'm once again sitting here cross-legged, and my legs are falling asleep. So last night, Jason and I went to the melting pot. There's not a whole lot of those in the country, but it's a fondue place. Okay, this is not. It's a fondue place, and once a year they do endless entree. Because my whole feeling on fondue places is that they give you enough to feed a bird, and you don't get your money's worth. You're pretty much paying for the experience. So when when the fondue place does the endless entree, that's when we go, because they will keep refilling your meat. And we do traditional oil, because that's how I grew up eating fondue. The idea of doing fondue in a broth doesn't make sense to me. It's healthier, maybe, but it doesn't make sense to me. So we always do oil. But yeah, it was super yummy. And you get a salad and chocolate fondue at the end. Okay, so we've got a couple of these. These are, yeah, these, I've got other things with, like, it's very traditional Hallmark. Now I say that knowing that most cards are Hallmark, but there are some Hallmark playing cards and postalettes and all that kind of stuff that have this kind of, maybe it's the same artist, I don't know. All right, and then we've got some like this. Well, she looks kind of sad, but she's got a rose, and it's got a thing in here so you could slip other pages in here and make like a mini journal that you could put in a journal, so like a 2-for-1. But yeah, that one looks kind of sad. Aw, to a fine nephew. Now, if for some reason you like this but you don't like that, cover this up with something. But this one is one that you can open up and have all this. Look at all that space. And then to a cousin. I don't know why I'm opening them all up. Here's some more to a cousin. So I think I got a good number of cards for the price of $2.50. Some more nephews, but hey, maybe you're doing a horse themed journal. You can, you know, cover that up, or maybe you don't even care because you just like it as it is. Oh, and wasn't thinking about the fact that none of those have envelopes, but there is one envelope in this set. Another one of those. Aw. So that one's a more, oh, like a multi-page kind of book style. So you could, this would be great for fussy cutting. So, and then it looks like, aw, a bunch of these. So that was a cute little set. Here's the other canasta score sheet. And then I went back to the bag of paper lady. Hers is my favorite booth in this particular antique store. But she's upped her price to $9. It was $7 last time I got some. But they're always interesting. And so let's see what we got in this one. I love this little paper scrap. Like, for some reason when I see this, I think strawberry shortcake, but it's flowers. It's not strawberries, right? There's no strawberries, but it's like the colors are right. Now, of course, I wish it had been folded like more up here so that this didn't have a fold on it, but it's still okay. I mean, in junk journaling, we don't really care. Oh, and then a unused library card. A National Geographic map of Quebec and Newfoundland. I always forget that National Geographic was a great source. Like, how often did they put a map in their magazines? Was that like once a year, or was it every I was gonna say episode, every issue? All right, new map of Greater Columbus. Well, I'm a Buckeye, so I'm assuming we're talking Columbus, Ohio. Yes. I guess you never know. There is a Columbus, Indiana. So we've got a vintage map here. This is nice. I don't have many maps that are kind of monocolor, monotone, monochrome, monotone, because it's a sound. But this one looks like it it's been torn in half. But that's still a lot of map page, and I don't mind at all that it's torn, because quite frankly, you could literally tear this at every crease and every seam and get yourself lots of pages that are a decent size for a journal. And the fact that these are blank on the back. A lot of road maps, you know, have something on both sides, so this is exceptionally nice. And it would also be great in ephemera packs. But of course, you can never get the map folded back up right. All right, and then we've got, oh, another map of Ohio. This one is more your traditional road map. It's got cities on one side and the state on another. I could see this having been a free map that you got at a rest area kind of deal. And it's not particularly old. It's got a QR code on it. But I do try to find a year on maps just so I know if it's vintage or not, so that if I'm selling it, I can say, oh, well, here's a bicentennial map, which again, cities on one side and presumably, oh, well, okay, a bunch of history stuff since it's the bicentennial. And then if I opened it all the way, I would see the state, I believe. I'm just gonna assume that. Okay, then we've got a map of the city of Luzerne with all of your Swiss watches. That's kind of cool. I don't have a lot of foreign maps, so that's nice. Okay, then we've got some, I don't know, I think it looks French book page. More, oh, well, more just single page pieces. Oh, and then a bunch of postcards. Kind of look like they're from the 60s and the 70s maybe, and I'm showing them upside down. That's awesome. But okay, so if you've got a postcards in your collection that you're like, because maybe it was a tourist destination kind of situation, and you're like, it's great for an ephemera pack, because somebody may come along on this and be like, that bed, I'm going to cut out that bed and use the bed in something. So I like these just from a nostalgia perspective, so these would be great to stick in packs or a pocket in a journal. Oh, and some frog and toad stickers. Now, these don't look old. And this lady is not really known for having new kind of stuff. These look like Temu kind of stickers. But frog and toad is definitely vintage. All right, then we've got like a magazine, Picnic in the Catskills. So that's kind of cool. But see, Laura at Hyperstamper, she'd just stick this in a journal just like that, so that somebody could open up and learn about that. Okay, now there's a bunch of like map pieces. So just like I was saying earlier, you get a map and maybe it's falling apart on its own. But where even is this? All right, it's in a foreign language. I guess I could do my Google Translate, but maybe if I hold this up, one of you will know, will recognize something on there. So there's several little pieces of that, but it looks super old. Yeah, this is terrible that I don't recognize anything on here. So I don't know where this is. I don't know if this is Scandinavia, maybe? Just based on where the water is. And there's it says Austin for Green W. So I'm wondering if that's like go north for Greenland. Oh, that's Green W. Well, I don't know. Greenwich? So yeah, so just several pieces, but I love the map, and these are great for collage and that kind of thing. Well, here's another little piece, but this one is in English at least. So it says Plymouth, so I don't know if that's our Plymouth here. Or if that would be across the pond also. I kind of think it would be across the pond based on some of the other names on here. So, okay, so this is like the little map pack, because there's just lots of little, these almost look like maybe they were in a book, you know, like if some illustrated dictionaries have maps in them. So maybe that's where these kind of things came from. And then we've got Fabrication Day. I don't know what that is, but it looks old and it's blank on the back. And then M. Louis Dufay. I don't know, but I bet you could Google them. So all of that was in the $9 ephemera or paper pack. I want to put that stuff back since some of it is kind of delicate. So I don't know, was it worth $9? I mean, it had some good, I'm probably partial because I really like this booth. So, but it has some good, I mean, it's very map heavy, and I don't really need maps right now, but it did have some really cool old map pieces. So yeah, I think I'm fine with the fact that I paid $9. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we need to finish this video and I'll film another one because I'm almost home alone. Okay, if you want to get on my mailing list, the link for that is in the description below. Hopefully by the time this airs, I will have sent out my first email to that mailing list group, letting them know about upcoming sales on my Etsy shop. And as a thank you, you get this free printable of these vintage seed packs that I made, and that's the only way you can get these. And thank you in advance if you join the mailing list, and you'll get a free digital. If your birthday is in July, you'll get a free digital at the beginning of August so that I can make sure any July birthdays get covered. All right, let's end with our nostalgic TV trivia. All right, who hosted On the Line with Considine? You figure it's Considine, right? Because it's line, Considine, but maybe it's Considine, I don't know. What singing star was publicly fired on TV by Arthur Godfrey? For what newspaper did mild-mannered Clark Kent work? Who played Fish in the Barney Miller series? Who sang the theme song for Rawhide? I'm like thinking. What was the name of the jazz club in Peter Gunn? In what state is the setting for Knots Landing? What were Heckle and Jekyll? All right. Who hosted On the Line with Considine? Somebody named Considine? I'm not going to say a first name. I'm just going to say Mr. Considine. But what if Considine was his first name? Her first name? I don't know. What singing star was publicly fired on TV by Arthur Godfrey? Well, I wish I knew who Arthur Godfrey was, but how? So a singing star publicly fired on TV. So would they have been like in a variety show? And why were they fired? Maybe it's like Elvis. Like, could it be Elvis? Something crazy like that. I don't know that he was ever on TV though, but I don't know. There's so many singers, who knows? For what newspaper did mild-mannered Clark Kent work? The Daily Planet? Who played Fish in the Barney Miller series? I actually watched the Barney Miller series, and that was Abe Vigoda, who forever looked like he was 82 years old for his whole life. Who sang the theme song for Rawhide? I feel like it was a guy. Like, I have a song going in my head, but I don't know if it's from Rawhide or not. But I don't know singers from back then, let alone singers that would have sang TV theme songs. What was the name of the jazz club in Peter Gunn? I have no idea. The Sunset Lounge? That doesn't really sound jazzy. In what state is the setting for Knots Landing? Well, Dallas was in Texas. Why couldn't it have been Dallas? Knots Landing. I never watched Knots Landing. Let's say Georgia. What were Heckle and Jekyll? Well, I want to say crows. But then part of me is thinking magpies. So if it's either one of those, I'm taking the point. All right, who hosted On the Line with Considine? Bob Considine. Okay, I'm taking that point because I just said Mr. Considine. I almost said like Frank Considine or Joe, but then I was like, no, I'll get that part wrong. What singing star was publicly fired on TV by Arthur Godfrey? Julius LaRosa. For what newspaper did mild-mannered Clark Kent work? The Daily Planet. And did you notice how that question was properly phrased so that it didn't have the preposition at the end? Like nowadays we would say, what newspaper did mild-mannered Clark Kent work for? Okay, well, I don't know why I felt like I had to tell you that. Okay, who played Fish in the Barney Miller series? It was Abe Vigoda. Who sang the theme song for Rawhide? If you said Frankie Lane, you were correct. What was the name of the jazz club in Peter Gunn? Mothers. Okay. In what state is the setting for Knots Landing? California. Well, duh. Why didn't I pick California or New York? So California. Okay, and then Heckle and Jekyll were magpies, so I'm taking that point. All right, so I got Bob Considine, the Daily Planet, Abe Vigoda, and magpies. Well, that's pretty good for me, 50%. Let me know how you did in the comments below. And I just want to take a minute to say thank you for watching this video. I know your time's valuable, and so I appreciate you helping and supporting my channel in that way. And I appreciate the likes, the comments, or I should say the thumbs. Maybe you thought this was terrible and you give me a thumbs down. But either way, somehow that still helps with YouTube's algorithms. So thank you. Thank you for subscribing. If you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. And thank you to my members. And wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day. How does my end catchphrase go? But until we meet again, take care of yourself. Bye.